Early century was actually one of the very best in the world, because they just haven't been able to maintain that excellence in the sport of basketball comparative to the neighbors of both Argentina and Brazil. But like I said, they've got an upcoming team. Only played in 3 FIBA Basketball World Cups, and twice they were bronze medalists, but that was back in the 50s, in 1950 and 1959. Because some of the great names of the Chilean national team, the likes of Rufino Boneto. But it's been a very long time ever since. And as I said with Chile, like they did in the FIBA America qualifiers in the opening window on this floor, they defeated one infamous Argentina and actually had a dog run onto the court during the game. But, well, they'll be hoping to replicate the same start here in the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Well, fans, it is indeed the greatest part of the day, as now it is international basketball. We're going to pay respect, homage, and embrace the diversity as we listen to the national anthems of these two beautiful countries. We kindly ask, if you're able to do so, please stand with us.
Seguimos de pie para la interpretación del himno nacional de Chile.
The national anthems of two beautiful countries, both Chile and Brazil, have been sung, and now players and coaches will pay respect and homage as they continue to shake hands with each other as we get set to introduce 4 very important people for tonight's game. And those are 3 referees and 1 commissioner and technical delegate. Well, we got Johnny Batista from Puerto Rico. We got Nicolas Daniel Flores Avalos coming from Paraguay. And also from Puerto Rico, we have Edwin Quias. Well, our commissioner, technical delegate, is Gabriela Shaer Araya. So big thank you to all of our officials who've done a magnificent job in all of our competitions. And they'll continue to do a magnificent job tonight. Well, Atsa Nikolic will indeed be going with Flamengo's Alexi Borges in the starting lineup. Lucas Diaz along with Leonel Mendel, Mateus Vasquez, and Jorginho De Paula, which does leave the likes of Barbosa, Deodato coming off the bench tonight for the Brazilians. Well, the Croatian sensation, Atsa Nikolic. Of course, Sabona legend back in his day when he played with his late great brother, Drazen Petrovic. He's been with the Brazilian national team for quite some time now. Well, for Chile, on the other hand, one player you want to look out for is number 10, Sebastian Suarez, who did win the FIBA Basketball Champions League when he played for Telekom Basketball in Germany. And they also have some key players coming into this lineup, but I think the one is the lack of Morales in the backcourt. But Ignacio Carrion is going to have a big role tonight as the small forward, Aita Pickett. So very much kind of a new look team tonight for the Chileans. Well, Juan Cordoba knows it's going to be a tough challenge. They're up against the 10th ranked best team in the world in the FIBA World Rankings presented by Nike. But like I said, they do have the home court advantage. And if you go back to the 2025 FIBA America Qualifiers that began in February 2023, they got that big win against Argentina here at home. Well, we are now just under 2 minutes away from tip-off to begin. And like I said, go back to 1959 at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Chile came third. They had a very big win in that final game, but it was Brazil who took home the championship. Brazil, two-time winners. The official Tissot countdown to tip-off is underway. Let's see if we can hear what Coach Cordoba is going to say. Well, the Brazilians getting ready, getting the final words of inspiration from their coaching staff, as are the Chileans. And again, we'd like to welcome everyone to Valdivia, Chile, a fantastic arena that's seen many great nights, not only in BCL Americas, but also in the former FIBA Liga de las Americas. And also with the national team, as we already stressed earlier. But Coach Cordoba up against Coach Atsa Nikolic. All roads to Doha 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup begin tonight. Because Argentina currently taking on Cuba. And remember, Colombia will be in action as they will take on Venezuela. Group C matchup. Well, to all of our fans in Chile, bienvenidos. And to all of our Brazilian fans, bem-vindo. Vamos Chile, bora Brazil, as they say in their local beautiful countries. Well, interesting delivery of La Pelota. Well, it's quite cool, actually. Well, the officials just getting final words so we can try to get this one underway. Chile got that big win against Argentina here in their first game of the American Qualifiers. Can they do the same against the number 10 ranked team in the world, Brazil? Well, you know, a team like Brazil, it's going to be a lot of energy. There's the back door. Oh, beautiful passing. Alexei Borges sharing his carry. Well, they got an open look and a big rebound has been secured. Ignacio Varela was the one who claimed the rebote. It's now Darryl Jones. A little post entry here inside for the Chileans. Aggressive defense coming from the veteran Lucas Dias. Time winding down. Bit of contact. That's great defense. Nowhere to go that time for Felipe Hasse. Borges. Bit of contact goes in. That's way off the mark. Well, Borges was heavily defended by Diego Lo. But can Chile build something? Nice little pick and roll, twisting, turning, and again missing. Offensive rebound, falling. 3 is up. Again, neither team able to build any momentum as Jorginho de Paula. A little bit case of Butterfingers slipping that one out of bounds. So a fresh 14 here for the Chileans. Chile get a baseline. Now pulling up from 18. Well, they're getting good looks. Just unable to convert here at the moment. Because Brazil are going to try to play a very calculated half-court pick-and-roll game. There's the post-up. Has to go for a tough fadeaway. And almost a minute and a half played. Neither team able to convert on anywhere. Both teams just need to settle into the tempo of the game. Well, they find the one down low as this time Felipe Hasse, no problem getting the first 2 points of the Chileans. Well, currently live at Coliseo Antonio as Zurmendi here in Valdivia, Chile. This home crowd needs to play a big factor tonight. Dias trying to post up. Twisting, turning, goes for tough fadeaway. Again, the veteran play by Lucas Dias. Well, most notably his time when he played for Ceci Franco almost 6 seasons ago, winning Suda Liga de Americana, then going, nearly leading that team. He was teammates with Didi Luvada, who's now playing in the Japanese B-League. Foul is going to be called on Leo Mendel. Well, speaking of Japanese B-League, Leonardo Mendel just going back to play in Spain after playing 2 years, well, 3 years, I should say, with Albac Tokyo in Japan. Varela. Well, finds Darryl Jones. Jones still has it. That's going to be a foul, I believe, against Darryl Jones. Well, Lucas Dias, like I said, the veteran player on this team, and that's good. Switch defense, just putting his hands in the cookie jar at the right time. But Lucas Dias is from a basketball city in Brazil. It's a country renowned for its obsession and passion for football. He's from Bauru. Well, deep 3 by Alexei Borges. The Flamengo sharpshooter unable to convert. Chile looking to regain the lead. Well, Varela now finding Hasse on the post entry. Pulls up for 10. He's able to knock that one down right in the face of De Paula. Well, Chile executing their Chilean pick and roll. Three minutes almost played here in the first quarter. Borges. Now Dias will fire a 3. That one's up. Neatly tucked away from downtown. Well, that was a deep, deep triple in the end. And it was actually Leonardo Mendel. High pick and roll. Ignacio Carrion setting this one. Jones makes extra pass. Tries a dish off and a wide open look at the end for Ignacio Carrion. Back and forth between both Chile and Brazil here early on. Well, Borges trying to find Lucas Dias, but in the end, threw it into the VIP zone. Well, there's a 3 by Leonardo Mendel. And here is the baseline penetration initiated by Diego Lo. That time finding Carrion. Bit of contact, good defense. Carry on getting the offensive board. Well, Chile know if they want to win tonight, that's one stat they're going to have to really battle. They've already got 3 offensive rebounds here in the first quarter. Brazil have yet to record one. Vasquez getting called for the foul. Tough defense coming from Mendel. Jones pulls off from 17. That's a little too short. Mendel's able to save this one from going out. Oh, good hands, stripping the ball away. But can Chile capitalize? Converting points or turnovers could also be a big X factor in this matchup. Varela. Well, he turns this one over now. Brazil, led by Leonardo Mendel. DePaula goes in. Can't finish, but he's fouled in the process. Well, that was great work by Leonardo Mendel coming up with a loose ball, and then you can see the 3-on-2 here in transition. Jorginho DePaula had one thing on his mind. Well, like Lucas Diaz, Jorginho DePaula currently playing for Ceci Franca. Because we already talked about them. This currently stands just under 200 centimeters. It's roughly about 197. Chris also played with some of the biggest teams in Brazil. Sao Paulo FC, where he had 3 solid seasons. Spent a little bit of time in the NBA G League as well. One-point Brazilian league. Varela still the primary point guard here for Chile. Well, they like to go down to Felipe Hasse. Bumps, no foul call. Counted. He's going to the free throw line. Oh, had to make the best of a very tough situation. Well, he wasn't going anywhere. It's good defense by Lucas Diaz, but it's the final reach. That's a circus shot if you ask me. Hey, every little bit counts here in Valdivia, Chile. Well, Caddy on battle for the offensive board. Against something he's got to be very relentless at tonight. DePaula getting the screen, forcing a switch, but throwing it away. Hasse comes up with it, and now Chile want to run. Varela patiently now, just settling in, trying to get the screen from Caddy on. He'll pull up for a 3-handed space. Well, one thing Brazil's not going to do, they're not going to panic. But surely they would have reviewed the lessons in which Argentina, with great players like Facundo Campasso, lost here 2 years ago in the American qualifiers. Oh, Mendel. Time winding down. Mendel's got to go for it. Pulls up, quick 3. And that's going to be 3 free throws coming up for Leonardo Mendel. And that's a poor foul to give away. Well, the problem with this foul is time is winding down and Caddy on. I mean, all you got to do is stand straight and put your hand up. Well, Leonardo Mendel, as mentioned, after playing in Romania with UBC Cluj-Napoca, then went and played 2 solid seasons in Japan in the B League with Alvac Tokyo under head coach Adamaitis. But has since returned to the Spanish ACB, second time playing in Spain. Remember, he played for Fuenlabrada for 2 years, but now he's playing for San Pablo Burgos. But he missed the second free throw. Head coach Atza Nikolic just watching on currently as his team can try to take a 1-point lead. Guy Deodato is subbed into the lineup. Two out of 3 for Leo Mendel. Well, good hands, forcing a turnover. Lucas Diaz. Now Borges. Brazil looking to try to convert this. Mendel goes for another three, while failing to capitalize. Chile's got to take care of the basketball. They don't want to gift wrap everything here for Brazil early on. Time winding down here for Chile. They got to force up a three, and that's not going to go. Well, Chile yet to record a three-point field goal yet here. Currently 0 out of 3 from downtown. Well, the Brazilians have already made one. Borges finds Mendel. Bumps, nice pass. Diaz goes in, but he's unable to capitalize. Well, it's a nice play there by Leonardo Mendel. Alejandro Vergara just trying to discuss a few defensive matchups there for Chile, but that's kind of the least of their problems here at the moment. Both free throws good for Lucas Diaz. Three-point Brazilian lead. Well, they'll go for another three, and again, just way off the mark. And I swear, Suarez could be, quite a big impact for this team here at the moment. Still yet to come into the lineup, Sebastian Suarez. Deodato finds Borges. But a foul is going to be called away from the ball. So at 2:50, Chile just cannot afford to make any more fouls. I think that one's going to be against Vergara. All right, to Pickett subbing into the game for the first time. So they're going with a much bigger lineup along with Felipe Hasse. This is trying. I'm not sure why they'd want to go to that matchup. It's currently Bruno Cardoso at the free throw line here for Brazil. Because the history between these two countries, I already said it in the pregame. 1959, both stood on the podium at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Brazil were champions. Brazil came in third place. Well, excuse me, Chile came in third place. Second free throw, no good. Chile just preventing an offensive rebound. Now we're under three. Because Varela's got the huge duty without the likes of Franco Morales playing point guard for Chile. Still yet to see Sebastian Suarez in the lineup. There's a pump fake. Wide open three. Still looking for that first three-point field goal. 0 out of 5 already here for the Chileans in the first quarter. Kyle Pacheco. Maybe just holding on to the ball a little too long, but he's able to find Guy Deodato. Well, this is what he does best. And the Flamengo sharpshooter. Well, he did that in the FIBA Intercontinental Cup for Mango, giving Brazil a 7-point lead. Well, Suarez has checked into the game now for Chile. And they're going to want to get him some good looks from the three-point line. And there's the backdoor play. May have taken a few extra steps. And the sixth three-point attempt for Chile still won't go. Deodato trying to lead the transition. Cardoso going for a post-up, the natural center currently. So Lucas Diaz going to a 4-stretch 5 at the moment here for Brazil. Mendel pick and pop. Diaz step back, big three. Well, Cardoso battling. And a foul is going to be called here against Brazil's number 10, Bruno Cardoso. Well, Cardoso, excuse me, but I find it amazing, almost staggering. Brazil don't even have an offensive rebound yet. Chile out rebounding them 11-9. As you just saw Fabio Martinez, but look at this, Gui Deodato, Mengao, Flamengo's #1. Well, Chile just making some changes now. Bada Mamor coming into the game. That's going to be a kickball violation. Chile getting it back on the sideline. A fresh 14 on the shot clock. Because Chile, as I mentioned, not getting a lot from the three-point line. I mean, they're getting good looks, but here's the man they want to get those good looks to. Good defense by Leonardo Mendel. Time winding down. It's another circus shot, 1-on-1. Rebound has been secured by Cardoso. Potential 2-for-1 coming up for the Brazilians. Cardoso coming up for that screen. Pacheco still has it. Now they got the switch on defense. But Deodato with a ghost screen action. Pacheco goes in, simply unstoppable by Kyle Pacheco. And that could be the 2-for-1. 7 seconds difference between game and shot clock. 9-point lead to the Brazilians. It was Argentina, as mentioned, who came here to Valdivia, Chile, losing in the opening game, but a nice little step through. And you might need to look at the loss and found. No help side defense for the Brazilians. Nobody was home on that play. Martinez getting his first bucket. Remember, Chile don't want to foul. Pacheco picks up his dribble. There's the deep three, and that's not going to go. 24-second violation, and the end of the first quarter. Well, the shot clock was turned off. My apologies, but Brazil will go into the break with the 7-point lead. Now 2 out of 7 from the three-point line. Chile kills the three-point. They haven't been able to convert, but so far it's been Brazil dominant display. The number 10 ranked team in the FIBA Basketball World Cup rankings presented by Nike, currently leading here in Valdivia, Chile. Well, looking at the stats from this game, I mean, one thing that's quite surprising, the Brazilians, 10 rebounds, but they've all been defensive. They haven't had any second chance points. And considering how this game has begun, that could change. We've got to look at the highlights here from the first quarter. Well, it took a bit of time for these two teams to get into the game and find their rhythm, but here is Ceci Franca's Lucas Diaz with the fadeaway. Nice little seal-off mid-range by Felipe Hasse. But Alexei Borges, that time finding Leonardo Mendel, currently playing for San Pablo Burgos in the Spanish ACB. Well, there was Jones. And then the baseline penetration dish off by Diego Lowe, finding Nacho Carrion inside the paints. Well, fans, use that QR code and download Courtside 1891, where you can get all the best live streams and scores of international basketball. Courtside 1891. Download it today using that QR code. Well, Brazil getting the first defensive duties here in the second quarter. Sebastian Suarez. Because without the likes of Franco Morales, who's usually able to draw a lot of defenders away to him, Suarez, there's a 3 wants and finally gets the first one for Chile. Well, he's going to have to work away from the ball, coming off screens, getting open. Brazil's dribble handoff culminated with a ball screen. Pacheco goes in, quickly draws a foul. Well, Kyle Pacheco now will go to the free throw line. He stands roughly at 189 centimeters. He's currently playing in the Spanish Liga Endesa for Coruña. First free throw, no good. Well, last season he did play for San Pablo Burgos in the second division. He was actually a 78% free throw shooter that season. Guess also spent a bit of time playing in Argentina with Weber Bahia. Also in the Italian LBA, so quite an experienced international player. The second free throw is good. Well, Pacheco almost coming up with a steal. 5-point Brazilian lead. Well, Suarez, pump fakes, contested mid-range. Not going to go. He knows he's going to have to work tonight. Just very tough matchup for him as another deep one is the Brazilians. Pacheco lights it up from downtown. Well, tough shot indeed here by Pacheco. Well, that's a solid play from Pacheco, because what I like about that play is how quickly he's able to create space for himself and get his feet set from the three-point line. And that indeed does give the Brazilians an 8-point lead. Still a bit of an offensive struggle here for the Chileans. Bottom of Mort, finding Suarez. Mort hesitates. Oh, nice dish off, much better. Finding points inside the paint with Aito Piquet. Again, no Franco Morales. They know they really have to work to get inside the paint to make the Brazilian defense crash. Deodato, heavily defended. Pick and pop, and there's another three for the Brazilians. Not going to go. Goes out of bounds, but Brazil will retain it on the baseline. Well, Darryl Jones coming back into the lineup. There is the three-pointer. Pacheco just doing Pacheco things. Oh, again, it's just beautiful basketball. Brazilians just having fun at the moment. Another three-pointer. It's that man from Flamengo, Gui Deodato. Well, they've made 1-3 tonight, and they'll make another one. Well, if you got to compete against the Brazilians, you've got to bring your A game from the three-point line. And Fabian Martinez, as I said, only the second three of the game for Chile. Well, Brazil's been on fire. That time hitting the front iron. Chile comes up with it. Try to cut it down to a two-possession ball game. Without turning it over, they do just that. Good hands by Pacheco. Well, Deodato's been on fire. That time unable to finish. Almost 3 minutes played here in the second quarter. Jones using the screen from Pickett. 5 here on the shot clock. Will he go for another one? And now all of a sudden, confidence is contagious. Martinez now makes it a one-possession ball game. Well, he's come off the bench. Pacheco finds an opening. Bit of contact. Are you kidding me? Obrigado, Pacheco. Well, bit of hesitation from Kyle Pacheco, but what a play in the end. Looks like a Brazilian Luka Doncic. Boa noche. And there was another three. The quick catch and release by Guy Deodato. And look at Fabian Martinez. That was a deep triple. Three-point play converted, back to a 6-point lead. Alexei Borges subbing back into lineup for Pacheco. That's Nicholas just having a few words with Kyle Pacheco as he goes to the bench. Nacho Varela just trying to deal with the full court pressure. And an offensive foul, a moving screen is going to be called against Aito Pickett. Because no Manny Suarez available for the national team in this window. Because he would have been a monumental addition for this team. Deodato. Time winding down. Bit of a go screen action. He's made 2 threes. Not going to get this one. Jones comes up with it. Jones may have taken an extra step, but I don't know how many steps he took, but he was able to finish. Well, he wasn't turning on the brakes in that transition. Let's have a look at how many steps he take. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. But he scored. Count it. Well, it's a worrying sign as Fabian Martinez currently on the ground. I don't know if it was a ankle injury or shin injury, but because he's hit the most 3-pointers at the moment here for Chile. They're now 3 out of 9 for downtown, but that's a worrying sign for Chile. Coach Cordova and Coach Atsa Nikolic just watching on here, hoping they can begin this campaign in hopes of qualifying for Doha 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup with a victory. Mendel back in the lineup. 4-point lead currently to the Brazilians. Alexei Borges making the defense go under the ball screen. Another offensive rebound here collected by Brazil. When I say another one, it's actually the first one of the game. Mendel out of control, gets denied. Adios, amigo. What a block shot by Aito Pickett. But can they convert? Well, they'll go for a 3. Battling for offensive boards. Suarez, 3. Oh, baby! Sebastian Suarez, BCL champion in 2023, cutting it down to a 1-point ball game. Well, that was a huge 3, as now a timeout is going to be called by Atsa Nikolic. Brazil want to talk it over. Let's listen to what Coach Nikolic has to say to his players. Well, my correction, of course, Sebastian's well, use that QR code to download the Courtside 1891 app, where you can get all the best live streams, schedules, and scores of international basketball. Courtside 1891. Well, my correction, Sebastian Suarez actually didn't win the BCL with Telecom Basketball. That was Chilean player Sebastian Herrera, but it's a huge 3-pointer by Suarez. Well, that cuts it down to a 1-point deficit. Well, they also have the exact same shooting technique, which the release is slightly a little bit lower. And they're actually the same height as well, with the same name, Sebastian, but my correction on that one. Borges forced the switch on the screen. Time is winding down here for Brazil. Double crossover, draws a foul. And now he'll go to the free throw line. Alexei Borges was actually born in Franca, Brazil. Of course, as mentioned, he's having a great time playing with Flamengo in the Brazilian NBL. Also played briefly in Germany with the Hardcore Merlins of Kreilsheim. Spent a bit of time in the NBA G League with the Capitanes de Ciudad de Mexico. Three-point Brazilian lead. 4:44 to go here in the second quarter. Jones gives us one up. That's another kick out. Well, Jones, he'll fire a three. That's a little too strong, way off the mark. Borges comes up with it. Brazil looking to extend their lead here in the second quarter. Well, there's a take, and the finish just rattles its way in. Tough take by Jorginho de Paula. Well, that was a tough finish, to say the least. It does give Brazil that 5-point cushion currently here. Felipe Hasse just drawing that foul. It's only going to be the second team foul against Brazil in the second with 3:51. The double substitution is both Diego Lowe and Nacho Carrion getting ready to come back into the lineup. So Darryl Jones, along with Ita Pickett, will go to the bench. Well, the timeout is going to be called. These two teams want to talk it over. And we'll head down to the bench to find out what Coach Cordoba has to say to his players. Well, Jorginho de Paula, that time just finding his way in and around a tough little finger roll. Using the glass effectively. Because that's one area Brazil may feel they have a big advantage against Chile, is points potentially inside the paints. Well, so far in this game, Chile is actually winning that battle 10-6. Well, another three coming. And again, Chile, all of a sudden, hot like Chile on fire. Red hot Chile triples. Felipe Hasse with his first three-pointer. He now moves up to 9. Oh, Borges, what a time. Obrigado, boa noche. What a play by Flamengo's Alexei Borges. That was incredible, finding Cardoza. It's a 2-possession ball game with over 3 minutes. Suarez thinks about it. Draws the contact, now he'll go to the free throw line. So free throws coming up here at the moment. Trying to cut it back down to a 2-point deficit. They've got to make every free throw count every time they go to the charity stripe. They don't want to look back at this game and think we could have beaten our first game against Argentina in the America qualifiers, but also Brazil in the World Cup qualifiers. Now Suarez goes to the bench. Gaspar Hernandez into lineup. 3-point Brazilian lead. Jorginho going down to Lucas Dias. Trying to play the aggressive back to the basket post up. Jump hook. Well, it was on target. It was a good move, but he's got to finish that one. Chile can't tie the game up if they go for another three-pointer. They're currently 5 out of 13. Well, there's a lob pass. Goes in. I missed it from point-blank range. Ford just comes up with it. Brazil have numbers. Transition. And Bora Brazil on the fast break. That's how quickly this Brazilian national team, Cardoso getting the last 2 looks inside the paint, are able to convert turnovers and miss shots into fast break opportunities. Well, we try to find Nacho Carrion. Varela still got it. He puts up a deep one again. Sick three-pointer already here. 5th in the second quarter for Chile. This team just flying on a wave of confidence here in Valdivia, Chile. DePaula, another kick out. Mendel's made one, not going to get this one. No foul given. Chile can tie the game up, maybe take the lead. Nice passing, 3, corner. Well, that would have set the roof off tonight here. 3-on-2 for the Brazilians. Jorginho, and he almost turned it over, but it goes out of bounds, and Brazil will retain it. Well, that was a wasted 3-on-2 opportunity. And Jorginho probably should have finished that one. There's the dunk in the end by Cardoso. And the deep 3 coming from Nacho Varela. Borges, bit of ghost action. Finds Borges again. Time is winding down. That's going to be a 24-second violation. Well, Brazil failing to capitalize. Well, now again, a timeout is going to be called with 1:11 to go. These two teams will talk it over. We'll head down to the benches to find out what both coaches are going to address to their players. Well, there was Flamengo's Alexei Borges finding Cardoso, and boa noche, Bora Brazil. What a sublime primetime dime. Still only a 2-point lead to the Brazilians. So 1:11 to go here in the second quarter. Group C, remember, Colombia currently also taking on Venezuela in this group. And that's a poor foul to give away because the final team foul for Brazil to give. Still possession to Chile, 1:09 left. Finding Gaspar Hernandez. Remember, three-pointer would give them the lead. Well, another deep three. Almost got it as well. Nacho Varela not lacking confidence here in the first half. A foul, an offensive foul is going to be called against Bruno Cardoso. I think a change is getting ready to take place. Alejandro Vegada coming back into lineup. That's going to be a second personal foul against Bruno Cardoso. Oh, Chile goes quick enough. It could go 2 for 1. Looks like they're going to settle into a good offense. Try to level things up. Maybe take the lead if they can. There's the penetration to go. Suarez. And there's the final foul, so he'll go to the free throw line. Well, he has been a nightmare since making those 2 3-pointers for the Chileans. It's the perimeter threat he poses. Well, a timeout is going to be called. Atsa Nikolic wants to talk it over with his players, so we'll head down to Brazil's bench to find out what he is going to address to his players. We're live here in Valdivia, Chile. Well, Atsa Nikolic trying to drop one final offensive for the Brazilians. Sebastian Suarez will go to the free throw line here for Chile to try and level things up with 20.4 seconds. Chris, great stop for that man. Kyle Pacheco, 9 points, currently leading the scoring for Brazil. Joint leading the score in this game with Felipe Hasse of Chile. Suarez makes the free throw, and now he becomes third joint leading scorer. He can't become the game's leading scorer if he makes this one. Can't finish. 1 point lead to Brazil. They'll get the final shot here in the first half. Force the switch. Got it by Nacho Carrion. Alexei pulls up. Deep three. Flamengo's man. Alexei Borges. Big time three. Well, huge three by Mr. Mengol. Well, he did it a few times in the FIBA Intercontinental Cup. And he leaves Brazil with a 2-possession lead going into the halftime break. Group C fixture of the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Brazil lead 38-34 against Chile. Well, we're going to have a look at some of the key statistics here in the first half, but it's been a great game. Chile have really stepped up. Both teams 10 points with inside the rainbow, but it's actually Brazil right now in lead because they have had a better night from the perimeter so far. Well, the Brazilians, I say that, they're actually 4 out of 15. Chile's actually a bit better, 6 out of 16, but that didn't start that way. Both teams have 18 rebounds. Brazil slightly down on the assists, but nobody in double figures as of yet. Well, Hasse, Pacheco, and Suarez all leading with 9 points. We'll take a look at the highlights of it momentarily. Well, it was a great start to the game. The atmosphere was simply buzzing. And here was Suarez off the bench. Quick catch and shoot, hitting his first three-pointer. Well, Chile know if they're going to win tonight, they're going to need a lot more of that in the second half. Here was Cal Pacheco with 1 out of the 4 three-pointers of Brazil. Pacheco and Suarez along with Hasse, because the game's leading scorers in this one. Aita Pickett inside the paints. And there was Fabian Martinez from downtown. Well, Martinez actually has 2 triples, but it was Pacheco, hesitation, and a Luka Doncic-esque prayer as he got the M1. It was Fabian Martinez. Lucas Diaz had his face, but no problem. Sin problema, senor. And here was the many-step layup in transition by Daryl Jones. And then Suarez, his second three-pointer. And then it became contagious for the Chileans. Well, here was Jorginho. Little scoop round, little finger roll. And another 3, that time coming from Hasse. And the behind-the-back time, finding Cardoso inside. Well, it's halftime. We'll be back for the second half. Very short FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers.
Let's get this party started. Oh my goodness sakes, that's a throwdown. Goes in for the dunk. Good night. Too big, too strong, and just too good.
Who goes in and scores. Ah!
This is what it's all about.
It's all one big basketball family, folks. Oh, he makes it in. He is a magician. Winning time. Both teams over the limit.
No size. This is a small ball game.
Turks kicks it. Extra pass. Zegars. Oh, Latvia basketball.
You said it, Latvia basketball, Zegars. He was open for the 3. What great ball movement and passing. Look at this.
Schroeder goes downhill, gets it to the corner. Franz Wagner gets in.
Turnaround, quick shot, takes it. Bogdanovic, troika. Well, coach, get Maybe Toika time. He's made the three-pointer.
What a shot from Paco Cruz. He was literally out of bounds. Oh, Procito, what are you doing? And the alley-oop. And Banchero this time does not lay it up. He scores right at the end of the third quarter buzzer. Between the legs, alley-oop pass.
Yes! I love it, Jeff. Yes!
I'm sure you can have something better. Oh, a good miss. The USA got it. Bridget from the corner. You have got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. A play for the ages at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Bridges does the unthinkable. Ties the game. 0.2 seconds left. I have never seen it.
Well, that's symbolic of the shooting we've seen from Venezuela this first half. From the three-point line, 12 of 25 in the three-pointer. Leg bomb, nothing but net.
How many times are we going to see this?
Baseline. Are you kidding me?
Papa Nicolau says, give it to me.
Chicago attacks the closeout. Feed Bruno inside.
Fills it up. It's all right.
Welcome back, basketball fans. We're live here in Valdivia, Chile, with Kyle Pacheco, along with Hasse and Sebastian Suarez, all lead the scoring table at the moment now with 9 points apiece. It's currently a 4-point lead to Brazil after the final three-pointer made by Alexi Borges at the end of the second quarter. Well, two players with 9 points for Chile, both Felipe Hasse and Sebastian Suarez. Here was the and one by Hasse in the first quarter. Well, during that contact live here at the Coliseo, Antonio Azurmendi. Well, Hasse currently 3 rebounds and 1 point away from a double-double. He's going to have to play very big, extensive minutes in the second half if they're going to try to win this one. But here was his first three-pointer of the game in Chile. After only making 1 in the first quarter, hit 5 big ones here in the second. Well, Brazil do have currently 5 out of 16 from downtown, but so far both teams finding that confidence from the perimeter. Well, welcome back, everybody. Live here, as mentioned, at the Coliseo Antonio Azurmendi here in Valdivia, Chile. And this magnificent historical arena has seen some great nights, not only in FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers, but also in the America qualifiers, BCL Americas, and the former FIBA Liga de las Americas. Well, it was only 3 years ago, in February 2023, almost 3 years ago, I should say, in which Argentina began the road to Nicaragua for the America Cup in 2025 this past summer, and actually lost here in Valdivia. It's a tough place to come to and win, there's no doubt about it. One country did actually win here It was back in 2020 of February, and that was Colombia on the road to the America Cup that was hosted in Recife, Brazil. Well, the Brazilians, no doubt, because having that 4-point cushion with that final 3-pointer made by Alexi Borges, but it has been a very tough second quarter for them, to say the least. Well, they've had some good spirited play from Guy Deodato and Leonardo Mendel, but, you know, it's got to be a consistent basis from this team if they're going to pick up a victory. Remember, in the FIBA World Rankings, they're ranked number 10, presented by Nike. Right now, they are being challenged. We'll try to keep you updated as well with the other game here in Group C within this group, which that is actually going to tip off in just under, or just over 30 minutes, I should say, as Colombia hosting Venezuela in Cali, Colombia. Alexi Borges leading the assist count currently here for the Brazilians. I think one thing the Chileans will take a lot of confidence from in the first half is knowing that they haven't been dominated inside the paint in terms of scoring from Brazil. They've had their fair share as well, but Brazil know full well, especially with a coach like Aca Nikolic, this was never going to be a walk in the park. They have a lot of respect for the Chilean national team. Like I said, these two teams have their history. Brazil winning the 1959 FIBA Basketball World Cup, and while Chile actually came in third place. Well, as I already said, Hasse 1 point, 4 rebounds away from a potential double-double. I think more than anything, he'll want Chile to pick up a very big win here at home. Remember, the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, 6 windows. But in the first round, the first 3 windows, you've got to finish in top 3. And this is an excruciatingly tough group. Chile, Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela. I just wonder if you had to pick a team that was potentially not going to finish in the top 3. I mean, it's very tough to pick, I say the least. Oh, just under 2.5 from getting this one back underway. We are going to find out very, very soon how this one's going to pan out. 4-point lead currently here to the Brazilians. And a great atmosphere we've had inside. I mean, the Chilean basketball fans, they are as passionate as they come. The history goes back to the early 1900s. I talked about their success in the 50s, winning 2 bronze medals. And they want to get Chilean basketball back to where it was. You think about it, that's almost just under 70 years ago. Well, Darryl Jones has had some good moments in this game. Like I said, they're going to need the emotion from him, the energy. And like I said, with both Chile and Brazil, I think, like I said, it's been very even inside the paint. I mean, as I said, both teams 10 points. The one thing neither team's been able to do is really capitalize in transition. We're going to hear from Coach Cordova very soon to find out what he has to say to his players. It looks like they are going to come out with Felipe Hasse in the lineup along with Nacho Cadillon inside, but because they started with Sebastian Suarez coming off the bench, and I think they're going to go to that same option. Well, fans, make sure you use that QR code to download the official FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifying app where you can get all the best news, highlights, and content that matter to you most. Use that QR code and download it today. Well, looks like an unchanged starting lineup here for the Chileans. Because 2 players leading the scoring so far, 3 players in total. Welcome back, everybody. All roads to Doha, Qatar 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup begin today here in Group C. Because in just under half an hour, Colombia will be hosting Venezuela in this group. Brazil leading by 4 here in Valdivia, Chile. They'll get first possession. Alexei Borges, the man who made the final 3-pointer in the first half. Well, picking up right where he left off with another triple. Both teams now with 6 3-point field goals. 7-point lead to Brazil. Well, Carion Low, Varela, Hassan, Jones on the floor. Very much unchanged. Jones, nowhere to go here at the moment. Time winding down, pulls up off the dribble, and that's going to be a 24-second violation. First time that's happened to Chile in this game. It's happened to Brazil once. Well, Borges went in for the penetration, no foul given. Can Chile capitalize? Varela forcing the switch on the bull screen. There's a post entry. Down to Hase. Fadeaway. Now goes into double figures. And that is sweet. But still cutting it down only to a 5-point deficit. Well, Jorginho getting this one back. That's going to be a foul against Jones, I believe. Bruno Cardoso tried to set the high bull screen for Jorginho, but Jones just towered into him like a tower of Jenga blocks. Well, Darryl Jones going to leave the game. It's now Alejandro Vergara subbing back in. Jones does indeed pick up his 3rd personal foul. Jorginho. Again, bully basketball. That is how you take advantage of a mismatch. Carry-on comes up with a high screen. Well, through a prayer of a pass. Chile with 6 threes. This one's open. Make it 7. Well, they continue to make it rain here in South America. Listen, Chile don't want to be known as a country and his name is the 2 basketball nations in both Brazil and Argentina. Now they force a turnover. Chile don't have the numbers, but they're going to step out of bounds on a wasted transition opportunity. Alejandro Vergara just didn't quite know where he was. Because both teams have done a very good job at taking care of the basketball. Only 13 turnovers in total between them. Borges made his last 2 threes. And again, he is cooking. A Brazilian BBQ at the moment. And how many times are you going to go under the bull screen? Alexei Borges, 3 out of 5 from downtown. Back to a 7-point lead. Varela just trying to deal with the pressure. Carry-on. Well, he had a walk. That almost went in, but Hase was wide open. Now Mendel. Mendel goes in, keeps it in his right hand, and gives Brazil a 9-point lead. 3 minutes played here in the 3rd quarter. Coach Cordoba has seen enough. He's going to call timeout, and we'll be back in just under a few minutes. Well, look at this. San Pablo Burgos in the Spanish ACB now trying to lead his team to the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup.
No tenemos problema que nos esconda atrás del bloqueo. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Meter un poquito más de presión. Y Pipe, la próxima defensa, jugarle un cortito, jugarle un flat, para generarle algo de duda. Y vamos arriba porque la está metiendo. Pero después sigamos pasando por atrás igual. ¿Está? Esta ofensiva arriba de rojo. No le llamamos rojo. ¿Está? Vale, vale, vale. Tranquilo, tranquilo, todo juego. Vale, vamos.
Well, it's been a good start here for Brazil in the third quarter. I say one area of Brazil, they feel they have one advantage, not only inside the paint, but points and turnovers. They have 5 so far. Use that QR code and download the official FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifying app. Get all the best news and highlights that matter to you most, and follow your favorite teams right up until Doha 2027. Good defense by Borges. Chile avoiding the 8-second violation. Foul is going to be committed. That's only the first team foul against Brazil here in the third quarter. That's on Leonardo Mendel. Well, Mendel actually has 6 rebounds to go with the 7 points. Time winding down here. We've made 7 threes. They go for a tough contested one. That's way off the mark. Brazil looking for their first double-digit lead of the night. Led by as many as 9 so far. There's Lucas Diaz from downtown. I think a foul is going to be called against Nacho Carrion. Baseline possession coming up. Carrion picks up his second personal. Borges now looks to attack. There's a kick out. Diaz wide open. And again, buries the three-pointer, giving Brazil their biggest momentum. Well, Brazil, just like Chile, both teams have had great success so far from the perimeter. 8 out of 20, 40% for the Brazilians. Well, Sebastian Suarez back in the lineup here for Chile. Chile looking for their 8-3. Again, it's all flying in at the moment. 8 threes for Brazil, 8 now for Chile. 42% for the Chileans, but they find themselves down by 9. Jorginho trying to go baseline. Hasse came for the help side. Now got it by Carrion. He's got 2 fouls. There's a step back. Not going to get it. Rebound secure for the Chileans. Down the middle goes in, and he finishes in transition. And now it's a 5-0 run from Chile. Well, you can see Felipe Hasse just trying to get the crowd into this. 13 points, 7 boards for Hasse. Oh, good hands. Forcing another turnover. Borges threw that one away. What can Chile build off this 5-0 run? Nacho Carrion, they misses the layup, and nobody went in for an offensive board. Well, that's a smart foul to give away because Brazil had the advantage with an extra player. Well, here was Borges. Finding Diaz in the corner. And Ceci Franca's big fella buries it. And there was Felipe Hasse. Goes 4 points here in the third quarter. 3 rebounds away from that double-double. Another kick out. Diaz made his last 3. Not getting this one. Mendel gets the board, but he throws it away. Oh, Chile threw it away. Diaz comes up, and that was practically gift wrapped. Well, Dias felt there was enough contact to justify an and-1, but change is coming in for the Brazilians. And that was just Feliz Navidad, if you like. And it's not even December yet. Lucas Dias currently now at 9 points. Well, Herrera being heavily defended by Guy Deodato, knowing the three-point threat he poses. Suarez has to go for a tough one. Not a good offensive by Chile. So now we are under 4 minutes. Nearly 3.5 to go here in the third quarter. Kyle Pacheco just patiently has enough time here for a good pick-and-roll scenario. Goes down the middle, goes in. Oh, he missed the reverse layup. And a foul is going to be called. And that one's actually against Bruno Cardoso. You can see the look of the replay. I mean, it's the right decision if you ask me, for sure. Well, change is coming, and Nacho Carrion's go to the bench. Darryl Jones back into lineup. Also, Diego Logo into the bench. And Isa Pickett also back in the lineup here. Chile want to keep this in single digits heading into the fourth quarter. Suarez. Time winding down here. Good hands by Dias. Completely ripped that one away. No double dribble given. Home crowd incensed. Dias going up against Pickett. Foul is called, and that's going to count. It'll be an and-1. So Jorginho de Paula tries to give Brazil, again for the second time, their biggest lead, which would be 12 points. Point lead currently here to the Brazilians. They've had total control of this game here in the third. Pickett kicks out. Chile looking for three, number 9. And again, it's keeping them in this game. 9 3-pointers. Well, Chile at the moment living and dying from the three-point line. But is it enough? Tough one to say if you ask me. Foul. Well, that's going to be out of bounds, excuse me. Well, Chile 45% at the moment, 9 out of 20. Well, there's the take by Pacheco, now not finishing. Chile just clogging the paints. Good defensive play by Isa Pickett. Darryl Jones on the handoff. Brazil only with 1 foul to give here in the third. But they turn it over. Good defense. And an unsportsmanlike foul is going to be given. So Brazil will get 2 free throws. And they're going to retain possession. Well, just when you feel like Chile is going to, build that wave of momentum, they end up turning it over, and you've got to credit Brazil's defense. It is simply too tough to break down. So Jorginho de Paula now at the charity stripe. Well, he hasn't missed a free throw yet this evening. And hits another one. Well, he's 4 out of 4 from the free throw line. 8 points tonight for Jorginho de Paula. Eleven-point lead currently to the Brazilians, the two-time FIBA World Cup champions. And that was a very long time ago. De Paula fakes about it. Deep three goes flying. Offensive rebound is simply too easy for the big fella, Nathan Fernandez. Well, he practically walked in and gift wrapped himself. Now Brazil have their biggest lead of the game. Jones is avoiding a traveling violation. Goes in, he's able to finish. And that cuts it back down to 11. So that was a good finish, to say the least. Still a double-digit lead to the Brazilians. Over a minute to go here in the third quarter. Jorginho out of control, and a foul is going to be given, so he'll go to the free throw line. And that foul's against Nacho Carrion. Let's have a look. I'd say that's the right call. I'd say that's a very good decision, to say the least. Still De Paula, perfect from the charity stripe tonight. Brazil have only missed 3 free throws at 15 out of 18. And he's now 5 out of 5. Because Chile have only taken 5 free throws tonight and only made 2 of them. And now 6 out of 6 for Jorginho de Paula. His fans have made the journey here in South America all the way to Chile. Well, that's Brazil's final foul to give away. Chile could go 2 for 1 if you think about it, with 47.8 seconds left. Chance to maybe get it into single digits going into the fourth quarter. Jones putting the ball in the hands of Barhem Amor. Jones fires a 3. This one's up. Suarez, offensive board. Can't finish, getting crowded by the clock, by the congestion. The foul is going to be given, and every foul Chile give away just sends Brazil straight to the free throw line. 24.2 left here in the fourth quarter, and Cordoba is also going to, I think it's actually a technical foul. So 1 free throw coming up. And Jorginho now 7 out of 7. Final seconds winding down. Caio goes for the fadeaway. Doesn't get it, but Brazil unable to get the offensive board. Can Chile get one final bucket? Suarez, quick 3. Bank is open. El banco está abierto. Well, Suarez with his 3rd treble. Well, big time play, still cutting it down to 11. And Suarez didn't hesitate. He had one thing on his mind, and that was a 3-pointer. Well, 10 3-pointers for Chile, 45%. But now for 10 final minutes, They have to come back from down by 11 points. Brazil, a magnificent third quarter. Great play by Alexi Borges. And we also saw Jorginho de Paula. It's been a great three-point shooting night for both teams. We'll look at the highlights very soon. Well, Borges hit the final three of the first half. Began things with a triple-A here in the third quarter. And he hit two big ones. And here was Felipe Hasse. Looking like a Chilean Pau Gasol with that move. Well, there was Jorginho de Paula with the isolation inside the paint. Taking full advantage of that mismatch. The three coming from Diego Lowe. Like I said, Chile have converted 10 already. But don't go under the screen again, Borges. That's a big mistake. Flamengo sharpshooter #1. Well, there was Hasse again in transition, just running down the middle. And the final three, El Banco está abierto for that man, Sebastian Suarez. Big time three-pointer. Final fourth quarter opening game for these two teams of the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Well, Borges coming back onto the floor, so Brazil also bringing out Matias Vasquez. Fans, use that QR code and download Courtside 1891, where you can get all the best live stream schedules and scores of international hoops. Courtside 1891. Download it today. Chile getting first play. Both Sebastian Suarez and Felipe Hasse in double figures. Combined total of 14 points. Suarez defended heavily by Gui Deodato. Carrion comes up with it. Goes in now, cutting it down to single digits. And a 5-0 run for the Chileans. Brazil trying to hang on to a 9-point lead. Jones matching up with Borges. Diaz made a three here in the second half. Not getting this one. Deodato getting the ball taken away. Well, he felt that was a foul. Suarez, another three on target. Hasse tries to save it, and he does just that. Carrion keeps us alive. Chile still believe. Time winding down. Hasse goes for a tough turnaround. Nobody going in for an offensive board. If you're Brazil, there's no need to rush anything. Just allow the fourth quarter to settle in. Try to maintain a double-digit lead as long as possible. De Paula, step back. Huge three-pointer. Well, it's just been a cookout tonight. Both teams lighting it up. 19 threes have been made in total. Jorginho de Paula now moving up to 14. And indeed, by doing so, becomes Brazil's leading scorer. Seconds winding down. Has to go off the dribble. Again, just nobody going in for the offensive boards for the Chileans. I think it's really hurt the Chileans is the fact that they've only taken a total time at 5 free throws and only made 2 on Brazil. 20 free throw attempts. And here was Jorginho de Paula, step back. But that was classic. Well, the timeout is going to be called. These two teams want to talk it over. 8:04 to go here in the fourth quarter. I believe it may just be a substitute. Oh, it's a timeout indeed. So Coach Cordoba is going to have some final words with his players. Well, with Chile, it's about reliving the history almost 70 years ago as one of the best basketball countries in the world. It's been a very long time since the 50s. Because they always did have a basketball presence qualifying for World Cups. getting into top fours, but also getting to Basketball Olympics, and because they just haven't been able to replicate that same success in the many decades following. They've played in 3 FIBA Basketball World Cups, winning the bronze medal twice in 1950 and 1959. And they've also played in 4 Olympic basketball games as well. Because the great Rufino Boneto, I should say, who was a part of those 2 bronze medal teams back in the 50s. Also the likes of Rolando Etchepare. Well, Hatsa Nikolic, because he's played in FIBA Basketball World Cups back in his day. He's coached this Brazilian national team at the Olympics. Brazil now looking to make it a 14-point ball game with Jorginho de Paula. 7 out of 7 from the free throw line tonight. Hasn't missed a free throw. Remains perfect. 9 out of 9. 14-point Brazilian lead, the biggest of the evening. Well, Chile just trying to deal with the high pressure. The double high screen Horns offense. Well, Carrion goes in. That was a wild play because it started with the penetration, which in the end fell in the hands of Carrion. Gaspar Hernandez getting the assist. Carrion now with his 3rd field goal. Chile going into his own defense. Borges has made 3 threes. Giving away the offensive board. Great work by Leonardo Mendel. Now de Paula finds Dias. Twisting, turning. Suarez comes up with it. Is there enough time for Chile to make a comeback? Varela giving this one up. They want to go down to Varese. Well, good defense by Borges. And now Brazil numbers. Gui Deodato can't finish, but the follow-up is good by Lucas Dias. Well, they felt there should have been a foul call when Felipe Hasse received the ball in the paint. But Brazil took total advantage. 14 points from Chile's turnovers. Varela still has it, pulls up from 18. Tough shot, nothing but net. But only cutting it down to a 12-point deficit. Varela does have 6 points this evening. And Mendel just left uncontested, and maybe they want to come out of the zone. Four minutes now gone here in the 4th quarter. Varela getting another high screen from Nacho Carrion. Pulls up again from 18. Carrion unable to get the offensive board. Borges still has it. Brazil not wasting any time, well, not rushing anything, I should say. De Paula kicks out the corner. Mendel, 3, corner. Obrigado one more time. Beautiful basketball by the Brazilians. Small points tonight for Leonardo Mendel. Great performance. Now becoming the 4th Brazilian player in double figures. And what a take in the end. What a penetration by Chile's number 23, Gaspar Hernandez. Halfway gone here in the 4th quarter. Chile still staying in the zone. Borges, beautiful passing. Gui Deodato, and Flamengo sharpshooter, like he did at the FIBA Intercontinental Cup in Singapore. Buries it in the corner. Oh, that's a huge play. Brazil, just like Chile, 10 three-pointers. This is beautiful Brazilian border basketball. Again, sharing is caring. Finishing touch coming from Mr. Mengal. I'll say it again. Beautiful Brazilian basketball. Well, you can see Chile probably really missing Manny Suarez, Franco Morales, because key players that would have given them a little bit more depth in the backcourt, also inside the paint, in the likes of Manny Suarez. I think for Brazil, you want to win by as many as possible, because remember, you play everyone here in the group stage of the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Points difference matters, so they're not going to want to take the foot off the gas. Top 3 teams will go on to the second round, where results that they achieve in the first round will then play a de facto. It's a tough group. Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and Venezuela. Because Chile, they want to minimize the deficit as much as possible. And again, what a blockeo. Pinning it on the rim. Wedgie time. That's going to be a jump ball violation. So Brazil will get it back. The arrow goes in their favor. I'd like to see that again. Brazil looking to extend to a 20-plus point lead if possible. Deodato. Final seconds. Goes to Diaz. Tough fadeaway by the big fella. It's way off the mark. Because Chile's got it mounted to come back. At least try to minimize as much as possible. Double team comes over. Suarez, wide open, not going to get it. Well, great job in the end as Chile's able to get themselves back to the free throw line. That inadvertently fell into the hands of Felipe Hasse, who does have 13 points tonight. Look at that, wedgie time. That's one way to block a shot. Lucas Diaz, I don't think he believes it. Well, that's his first made free throw tonight. 14 points. He does have a double-double already with 10 rebounds. But credit to this Chilean team. It's always going to be a tough matchup against the 10th ranked team in world basketball in Brazil. A 16-point lead currently to the Brazilians. Final seconds. Borges, nowhere to go. Finds Jorginho de Paula. Well, Chile want to run here. Time isn't on their side. If anything, minimize this deficit. Hasse backing down against Jorginho de Paula. Cementing better position. Now goes for a tough fadeaway. Now making it a 4-0 run here for Chile. And it's back to a 14-point deficit. Well, that was a good post move by Hasse. But Borges has to kick out to Gui Deodato. He's hit a few tonight, not getting this one. And Brazil just continue to do better here in the second half. 9 offensive boards for the Brazilians. Mendel caught a double team. Jorginho goes to his left, goes to Diaz, and it's just way too easy. Well, Lucas Diaz has had a hell of a game. Veteran player of Ceci Franco. And 12-second chance points. Another turnover. Now Brazil have numbers. Mendel, here we go. Oh, he missed it. Why didn't he dunk it? Dias not going to go for the three-pointer, and Brazil look like they're going to calm this one down. Remember, they want to win by as many as possible. Borges. That's going to be a 24-second violation. I don't think anybody told him how much time was on the shot clock. When you think about it, down by 16. Chile can try to minimize it to the single digits, but to try and win a potential head-to-head, they'd have to go to Brazil, and to win by a bigger margin, that would be a very tough task. Well, that's where they're headed to, Sao Paulo, in just 2 days' time to play. And a nice finish by Sebastian Suarez. That cuts it back down to 14. Well, I mean, it's not a short journey if you think about it, because we're now currently here on the southern tip of Chile. Sao Paulo, I mean, that's quite a long journey. It's almost 4,000 kilometers. Foul is going to be called on the ground. 1:28 to go here in the fourth quarter. Like I said, these two teams, they'll be in action again against each other in just under 48 hours. So no doubt they'll be on the next journey out of Chile to indeed make that journey to Sao Paulo. Borges still got it. Finds Deodato. Pulls up for a quick three. Not going to get this one. Can Chile cut it down to single digits? Give them any glimmer of a hope of battling for a head-to-head when they go up against Brazil and Sao Paulo in 2 days. Well, they go for a three in the corner. Well, quite an aggressive attempt on the rebound, but no foul given, as now we are under a minute to go. Well, Mendel senses the mismatch. Kicks out to Alexei Borges. One more pass. Another three goes flying. Well, I don't know if that was a pass or a shot attempt, but in the end, Bruno Cardoso will pick up the 2 points. Seven points for Bruno Cardoso. Also has 7 rebounds. Because only Leonardo Mendel has a double-double this evening here for the Brazilians. Suarez. Try to make the dime in the end, turning it over. And that might just do it. Brazil will want to get one final bucket, though. Points difference matters. Borges has to kick this one out. Finds Caio Pacheco. Pacheco. Foul's going to be called. But this is on the ground, so 1.7. Well, Chile do have one foul to give. You might want to think about using it here. Well, it goes in, and there you have it. Brazil win the opening game of the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. A huge victory, 82-66 in Group C here, live at Coliseo Antonio Azurmendi, Chile. Well, like I said, the other game that will go on in this group will see Colombia hosting Venezuela in Cali. But these two teams, well, they'll be headed out of Valdivia, Chile on a plane on a 4,000-kilometer journey trip to Sao Paulo, where they'll play each other yet again. Will be the second and last matchup here in the qualifiers. Well, the rebound count going in favor of the Brazilians. Chile, of course, are only down by 4 points at the end of the first half. Hasse leading with 17 points. Games leading scorer Sebastian Suarez with 13. But what a game by Lucas Dias and Jorginho de Paula. Big win for the Brazilians. Well, it's only a short turnaround. You get on that plane, you head to Sao Paulo where the weather is great at this time of the year. Well, it's currently 16 degrees. Quite a rainy forecast here in Chile as Atsa Nikolic. Because looking forward to heading back to Sao Paulo with his team. Well, it's actually only 17 degrees currently in Sao Paulo. Well, the Croatian sensation coach picking up victory number 1. Just trying to get this team back to yet again another FIBA Basketball World Cup. Like I said, Brazil actually have a bit of history in this competition. Because in the early foundations, the early years of the FIBA Basketball World Cup, they won in 1959, and again they won it in 1963, becoming silver medalists in both 1954 and 1970. Well, the way this game is going, you kind of felt it was going to be close, but Brazil just went on a turbo level in the second half. And rightfully so. I mean, they were simply dominant right from the beginning to the end. Now the question for the Brazilians, can they replicate this success as these two teams, as I mentioned, will be heading to Sao Paulo? Well, a great win nonetheless here for the Brazilians. I think the depth here for the Chilean national team is going to be a question for them in the second lineup and its second matchup, but it is indeed a very tough group, as I mentioned, as they both also have Colombia and Venezuela. Well, Gui Deodato hit some big shots here in the second half. Big performance by the Flamengo man with his teammate Alexei Borges. Well, it's a long 4,000-kilometer trip journey to Sao Paulo. Is it enough time here for these Chilean players to regroup and regather themselves in what is going to be a very, very tough matchup? Well, there are your standings currently, but that could change. Remember, Colombia will be taking on and hosting Venezuela later on this evening, 8:40 local time. You can watch the game live on Courtside 1891, but for now here in Valdivia, Chile, muchas gracias, adios, and buenas noches. Thanks for joining. Good night, goodbye, and God bless.